When the treatment finished for me, that's when I really struggled. I just couldn't get back to normal. I couldn't continue with my job. So I ended up leaving my job. So it impacted me severely, like literally financially, job-wise, mental health-wise, physically. And then my children, 2 years on, it's now coming out in my children. I see anxiety in them, and they never suffered with anxiety. It really did change everything. It really affected my whole life.
Good day, everyone. Welcome to the VoCP Talks, a platform to empower the cancer community. Our guest speaker today is Preeti. Preeti is a cancer survivor and a certified cancer journey coach. She is the founder of the Big C Coach, and she's also a certified hypno-oncology practitioner. So thank you so much for joining us today, Preeti. Shall we get started with the questions?
You're very welcome. Yeah.
Okay. So please tell us about your cancer history, how you got diagnosed, the treatments you underwent, etc.
Sure, absolutely. So I was diagnosed with multifocal breast cancer of the right breast in 2021. It was the summer of 2021. I felt amazing. Like I had no symptoms, like in terms of I felt the best I'd ever felt. I'd lost weight. It was my brother's wedding. I felt so happy and everything was going great. And then I found a lump in the right breast. I have had multiple other health issues. So I didn't panic straight away. I went for an appointment to check it, and they thought it was a cyst because it was very normal. Like it didn't seem like it was jagged edged. It didn't seem like it was too solid. It seemed like a cyst. So when I went for my screening, that's when they picked up that actually it wasn't a benign, it was malignant tumor. And unfortunately, there were 2 other tumors behind it, which were quite big. And so if that one hadn't come to the surface, I would not have probably noticed it. So so I was diagnosed. Everything went really quick from there. I was lucky to have a stage 1 prognosis at that stage, and they said I didn't need chemotherapy, which I was really relieved about. So I had a lumpectomy to remove the obviously tumors, and then I had radiotherapy, and then I'm also on hormone therapy now because mine was a hormone positive cancer that it was caused by estrogen build up in the body. I've got a long way to go yet, but I'm positive about the future. You know, every year I have my mammogram, so I am positive. And a few months ago, I actually had a bit of a scare because I thought I had felt another lump, and I sort of, oh no, what am I going to do? So I went for an ultrasound privately in the UK, and they checked it, and they said, no, it all seems fine. It looks like it's scar tissue from the operation. So I think these things will always come up. It's always going to be at the back of my mind, as it is probably for most people that have gone through cancer.
An ongoing process.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so once you got diagnosed, how did it affect your family, your career, and your daily routines?
Well, the thing is, it really did impact me. And in the beginning, it was all okay. I mean, going through treatment for me wasn't that hard for me. And maybe that's because I didn't have therapy. So I, salute everyone that's gone through chemo, because I don't know, how they do it, because it's such a rigorous process. It takes a toll on your mind and body. Yeah. But I felt during the treatment phase, I was fine. I was a bit tired and I had a few symptoms of like nausea and things, but I was not too bad. Like I got through the treatment phase. I was very lucky to have supportive people around me, family and friends. But it's when the treatment finished for me, that's when I really struggled. Like I just couldn't get back to normal. I couldn't continue with my job. They were not very understanding, and they didn't understand. They said it'd been like 5 months since I'd had treatment. It's time to come back to work. And they didn't understand, because I worked with mental health and worked with supporting students who have mental health issues. And they didn't understand that if my own mental health was suffering, how could I support the students? So I'm not going to be any good to them, right? When I'm like that. So when I said to them, I'm not ready, I just need more time, or can I have a phased return to work? Can you support me somehow? I'm still very tired as well. Can I maybe work from home for some days? Everything was no. So I ended up leaving my job. So it impacted me severely, like literally financially, job-wise, mental health-wise, physically anyway, obviously all these changes. And then my family, it sort of ripped through the family. Like my husband had like a bit of a breakdown. He was so unwell like himself, but he wasn't obviously telling me how he was feeling with the trauma of everything that had happened. And then my children, 2 years on, it's now coming out in my children. I see anxiety in them, and they never suffered with anxiety. And now I see the anxiety in them, and it really did change everything. It really affected my whole life.
Okay, so after you left your job, you are currently a cancer coach.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So what exactly motivated you to take this path?
Well, after like I said, when I finished treatment, I felt awful. Like I'd lost my job. I felt like purposeless. Like, what is the point of life? Like I've been given the second chance and this is great, but why am I not happy? Like, why am I still crying? It's been several months, and what's wrong? Like, why don't I want to like go and speak to like my old friends and family? Like, what is wrong with me? Like, I'm just not the same. And it really bugged me because I thought, why am I not returning to normal? And then everyone around me was like, you know, you need to move on as well. And I was just thinking, why is it so hard for me to move on? So I didn't quite understand it. And so I found out about some cancer coaching sessions. So I tried it, I did it, and it really helped me give perspective to my life and process what I had been through and why I was feeling, why it finally made sense. And it was when I had those sessions I actually thought, you know, this is really effective. And I feel like this is sort of a missing link. Like, you know, after treatment, people don't have that support. Obviously, they don't have that much support emotionally once they're going through treatment, but everything's so quick at that time that I think the issue comes in is when everyone goes away with their usual lives after treatment, you're in remission, everyone's gone off. Your partner's gone off, your children are back at school, everything's normal, but your life isn't. So for me, then I thought, you know what, these cancer coaching sessions really did help me, and that's what got me back on track. So I was like, right, I want to certify as a cancer coach. So I certified. It was a year-long certification. It's quite a rigorous process with a ICF-approved global organization called the Cancer Journey Institute. So I certified with them at the end of last year. So yeah, it's still very new, but I'm learning all the time, and it's a really empowering journey to be on, to be able to support other people as well.
So your own personal experience with having coaching after treatments,
I'm very much
was the main factor.
Before I do anything, I need to try it and see what, you know, and I didn't sort of do it just to sort of say, okay, because I'm lost, I don't have a job, I don't have a purpose, I want to find something. I did it mainly because I really was lost, and I just needed some guidance, right? So I had some counselling, and then I separately had some cancer coaching. And what was amazing was both of them helped, both of them were interesting, but I found with the counselling, I was just going in and having my moment to speak, and it was great because the lady was like holding space amazingly for me. But I found with the coaching aspect, it really helped me to look for the answers. So it was very much like the answers, you have them, the coach just guides you. And after the session, I'd be like, oh yeah, oh, so that's why I'm feeling like this. Oh, okay. Oh, that's why I'm like this. Oh, okay, that's why this is what I need to do. So I found it really enlightening personally.
So you are also a hypno-oncology practitioner. So could you tell us more about hypno-oncology and the benefits that come with it?
So hypno-oncology, again, before I did the cancer coaching, I was just bored at home. I was jobless. I didn't have no purpose. I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. So my husband was like, why don't you do some courses? You're at home and like occupy your mind. And I was like, yeah, that'd be really great. And I'd also always been interested in the subconscious mind and, you know, learning mindset tools and how you can make changes through your unconscious mind. So I did a bit of research on hypnosis. I trained at practitioner level for NLP, hypnosis, and integral eye movement therapy. Those things, and it was great. But it was very general, it was very broad. So I came across somebody in the UK who is the founder of like the Hypno-Oncology Association, and he trains other hypnosis practitioners at that advanced level. So I did that advanced level training, and it's specifically for people that are going through cancer. So
Okay.
I'm not sure how much you know about hypnosis, but it's an induction base. So you do an induction where you put somebody in a very relaxed state, and then you give suggestions to help make changes to the unconscious mind. So the hypno-oncology aspect is very specific. It's very based on cancer. So we deal with things like coping with your diagnosis, coping with your cancer treatment, how to cope with chemo, side effects of treatment, like if you're having nausea, treatment, like how to deal with that. So they're all really bespoke inductions. Obviously, it's anxiety, how to deal with fear, but it's really bespoke for the cancer patient. It's been researched and developed very for somebody that's going through cancer. So that's why I did it. And I feel I wanted to, when I launched as a coach, I wanted to add the best tools for my clients. So that's what I've done. I've literally encompassed everything. So, if my client comes to me and they say, I'm feeling like this, and I don't know how to unwind and relax anymore, we could do a guided meditation session. If they're like, oh no, I have this issue and I don't know how to deal with it, I just wish I felt a bit calmer right now, we can do some hypnosis on that. If they want to do the coaching and they say, okay, I'm lost, I don't know how to go forward, we coach. So I'm at the process of developing different packages right now. I have some coaching packages, and then I have a mix of coaching and hypnosis as well. So yeah, it's all very exciting times.
Yeah, I don't think I'm really familiar with this area, and it seems to have lots of benefits to a cancer patient.
Yeah, I think it just helps helps give the person back control, and it helps them have a bit more of a positive and empowered mindset. I think that's the best way I can describe it.
Okay. So grief is common for someone who's undergoing treatments, and they have to come to terms with maybe losing their old self or losing their old way of life. So do you think that such grief is an important part of moving forward to the next chapter in their life during the cancer diagnosis?
Oh, absolutely. I think grief is one of the biggest things. You know what? Losing a loved one, you grieve for them, and it's heartbreaking. And obviously with the grief process, I think there's five or 7 steps that you go through. With cancer, I find with a lot of my clients, they are grieving that loss of themselves, that lost part of that self, that loss of innocence. They're not the same as they were before, because before cancer, their life was different, and they might have thought they were going to live many, many years. So once cancer hits you, that innocence, that belief in life is going to go on forever, is definitely it's over, it's gone. So I think grief, it is really, really important to go through. On a cancer journey, you need to process it, accept it, and the best way to do that is accept your feelings. So if you're feeling angry, accept the anger, process it, sit with it, connect with it. If you're feeling sadness, do the same with that, because until we don't process the grief, you can't really move forward.
That makes sense, yes. Okay. So once someone is diagnosed with cancer, it is really their mental health does get affected. So how can someone have a positive mindset during this process?
Okay, so from my experience, what I found was really learning tools. And I would advise people, if you can learn simple tools, to sort of put you in a positive mindset, that's really useful. Hence why I did training. But not everybody's like that. Not everybody wants to go down that route. I would say listening to inspirational podcasts, even doing positive affirmations every day in front of the mirror, things like that. Having a gratitude list, maybe writing down what you're grateful for, because I often find when I'm having a really bad day, and I normally get my clients to do this, when they're like, everything's going wrong, life will never get better. I'm like, okay, so what are you grateful for in this moment, just now? And it's amazing how many good things are in our life, even when we're faced with challenges like cancer. So it's, I would say simple steps like that, like a gratitude list, writing what you're grateful for, listening to inspirational podcasts, reading inspirational books, doing daily affirmations, positive, affirmations to sort of think that into your mind, because subconsciously we're like a sponge, right? The brain's like a sponge, it's taking in everything. And the one key thing I would say actually is really surrounding yourself with positive people. And when I say positive, I don't mean the people are like, be positive people. I don't mean that. I mean people that want the good for you, that wish well for you, not people that want to bring you down when you're already low. So if you know that in your social circle, in your environment, you've got like some not so nice people, it might be an idea to reevaluate that, because I really believe like you are what you surround yourself with.
Once they complete their treatments, many find it difficult to get back to normal life, just like you said earlier. So have you come across anything that could help with this?
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, it sounds really simple. What I normally find this stage like when I go through with my clients, I have something called a cancer journey roadmap. Okay. And on that roadmap, there are different phases that you go through. So the phase you're describing, to me, it seems a bit like being at that slump, wanting to go back to normal, but just don't know how to do it. And I would say to you, the best thing that you can do is, like any other phase in life, it will come and it will pass. You have to sort of sit with it for a while and like feel those maybe not so nice feelings for a bit, and accept what's happening, accept your life's changed, and it's not going to go exactly back to what it was. It might be nearly like it was, but it's not going to ever be exactly like it was. And so I think the key thing is acceptance, sitting in that slump phase for a bit, like giving yourself time. That slump phase, you're going to go through so much. You're going to go through grief. You're going to be angry. You're going to like feel like, what's the point of going on? You're going to feel sadness. And you've just got to like deal with that. And also understand that, okay, life is not going to be exactly how it was, but it can be just as good or even better. And sort of move forward with that expectation, rather than saying, I want to be the old me, be like, I want to find the new me. That's what really supported me.
Okay, so the first step could be accepting that the past can't be the same as what you will be experiencing now. Yeah. Things will be different.
And really like accepting how you're feeling. Like if you're feeling horrible and you're feeling really sad and angry at the world, let yourself be angry at the world. So like accepting that, and like just giving yourself time. I'd say the third thing as well, like not trying to rush back to like how things were. Like I know a lot of people rush back to work because everybody's situation is different. So financially, some people might have to rush back to work, right? But what I would say is I found the people that make the most emotional progress through cancer is those that give themselves time for their mind, body and soul to heal. When we rush, we just end up backwards.
Okay, so another point that you mentioned earlier is anxiety. So this is something that many of cancer patients and survivors deal with this. So are there any ways to reduce this anxiety levels when they come across a scan date?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things you can do. So with my clients, what I do is I do some hypnosis work for anxiety specifically, and that can be really, really effective because it's obviously sending messages to the subconscious mind, and it can really, really help. And it helps you relax as well, which is great. I used to get a lot of anxiety after the radiotherapy. I just didn't want to have an MRI scan. I would literally feel like I can't breathe in it. It's horrible, like very claustrophobic. So what I started to do was really grounding myself. So before I'm about to go in, I'd be like, okay, connect with my 5 senses. What can I see? What can I hear? What can I touch? What can I feel? And there's a 5th one somewhere as well. So really connecting with those senses. And what I found was when you do that, you're very instantly like taken out of the worry and you're brought back to the present. And that's important. So even in the scanning machine, I'm like, okay, so what can I see? What can I hear? I'm just thinking, what can I see? What can I hear? And it just, within minutes, it's got, the scan's over anyway. So I think learning some grounding techniques, there's different ones. Everyone has different techniques. I teach very basic, specific ones, which are really helpful and easy to do. Like I said, if it's really severe and you feel you need professional support, you can get professional support, like somebody to work on your mindset with you, whether it's NLP, hypnosis, integral eye movement therapy is also something I do, which is really good. to manage that as well. It's where you use eye movements to sort of take that overwhelm and that feeling away by working on a specific memory. So let's say someone had a memory of a scan that they had like last year and it went terribly. We could work on that memory of that scan to reduce that anxiety. And then next time you go, you might think, oh, I don't feel so bad about going now. And another thing I would say is I do something called fear story work with my clients. So what I normally say is, okay, what's the fear? So you're having anxiety or anxiety. What's the fear? What's the fear? How does it feel? How horrible is this feeling out of 1 out of 10? Where's this feeling in your body? What does it want from you? What do you want to say to it? So really understanding what the fear is. And then I sort of separate and I say, okay, what's true right now? What's true? Like what's the reality of your reality? And a lot of the time, the truth is, okay, I'm having a scan. It's for my own good. It's going to be over in 2 minutes. I'm going to be fine. I'm going to go and have lunch afterwards. That's the truth. And that can very easily, like, you just think, oh my goodness, like it takes you out of your head. And that's where all the worry stores is in the head. So it's about getting the person out of there.
So grounding yourself and focusing on things that you can sense is a good step to deal with cancer.
It makes you very present. So I think it's all about being present, becoming in the moment and not worrying. Because when we have any sort of anxiety is caused about worry of the future, worry about what might happen. So it's taking that away.
Yeah. Okay. So a cancer diagnosis not only affects the patient, but it also affects the people around them, like family, support system, caregivers. So are there any things that caregivers or support system should be mindful of after cancer diagnosis?
I mean, firstly, before I go into that, I think caregivers are somebody that are just very much forgotten about, sadly. The caregiver is on their own journey and they have a very specific, intense, sad journey. And, you know, this is why I also support caregivers if they need support, because a lot of the time they're holding everything together. They are like the hub that's holding everything, but who's holding the caregiver, right? There's nobody. So, and a lot of the time I find in my experience that caregivers really feel guilty about saying that they need help. I know my husband did. He felt really guilty, and it's only when things got really bad and he was having severe anxiety and had to leave his job that he got emotional support in place. So what I would say is that if you're a caregiver and you need support, don't feel guilty, because you've got to meet your own needs as well. Obviously, your loved ones' needs matter, but so do yours. And they always say, like, before you put on someone else's oxygen mask on a plane, you put on your own first, right? So always support yourself first. Only then can you support others. On the other note, I would say how caregivers can offer support. I'll tell you the biggest thing. It is to just listen. The first thing is just to listen to your loved one. At that time, they don't need somebody to just be like, be positive and, oh, it'll all be okay. They don't need that, okay? All they need at that point is to listen to them, like how they're really feeling. And to like, you don't have to like come up with like solutions for them, but it's just about being a good listener for them. So I think that's key as a caregiver. Number two, I would say as a caregiver is if you can help in any way, like doing the small tasks, that can be really, really helpful. Whether it's like assisting your loved one with paperwork, managing their diary for their appointments, doing the school run, helping with kids, whether it's like sorting out the meals, the housework, the little chores. It's all these little things that make a difference for the patient or someone going through cancer, because it's all the routine from everywhere, and the person's lost control of their routine, and it can feel really, really disempowering. So I think as a caregiver, like I said, listening, firstly, just being there for that person. If they're having a cry, just letting them sit there and cry, being there for them, putting your hand on their shoulder, but not necessarily saying don't cry, because it's good for them to cry and let it out. Just being there as a support system for them. And also then if you can help with anything on top, like making their life easier.
Yeah. So caregivers can firstly listen and also help with all these small tasks and chores and make their routine continue without taking it all of them.
Yeah.
Okay, so do cancer patients deal with social anxiety? And if they do, what are the root causes of this issue, and can they deal with it better?
Okay, I mean, so I think I've seen social anxiety with a lot of people that are going through cancer. It's a lot. As for me, I went through a lot of social anxiety for a whole year after treatment. I literally didn't go out properly. I didn't go to any functions, any weddings. Being South Asian, I'm sure you probably maybe can relate. Weddings are a big thing. Family weddings are an even bigger thing. You don't dare never go. And I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. But because I was having cancer coaching sessions myself as well, and I was training as well in cancer coaching, I sort of really learned that it's okay not to go, almost. So I didn't go until I was ready. So I've started to go this year to things on my terms when I'm ready to do it. I am so grateful for that. I'm glad I didn't rush and do it. So I'd say the first thing is for social anxiety wise is to only do it when you're ready. Don't feel pressure to do it. That's the biggest thing, because that's just going to increase your anxiety. Root cause, I think, for social anxiety, it's because for so long you've been in your own cancer world and your cancer bubble, and that's exactly what it is. Your whole life's turned upside down. You're in this cancer world, and then all of a sudden treatment stops, clinical team goes away, and you're put back into that environment again. And it's like, how do I deal with this? And I think that's the root cause, because you've just been out of what was your normal and you were put into something completely different. And it's learning to deal with that again. So I think that's why people have social anxiety. What I think the best thing, like I said, is don't feel pressurized, do it when you're ready. And also to take baby steps. I found that really supported me. So like if you have like 3 weddings coming up, maybe go to 1 if you can. If you have a 3-hour event to attend, maybe go for the first part, baby steps.
Yeah.
Because when we feel we have to do this, that's all anxiety. That's just going to make your mind just go completely over the top. Like it's going to be like, oh no, I don't have a choice. When we feel we don't have choice, that's when anxiety sets in.
Okay, so we talked about this earlier a little bit, but why is it important for someone who has been diagnosed with cancer to have a coach?
Okay. Because to put it simply, I think everybody needs support sometimes. Everyone needs help. There's not a single person I know that probably doesn't need help at some stage in their life. And I think when you're going through cancer, you definitely need emotional support. I think having a coach can just help you feel less isolated. It can reduce the overwhelm so that you don't feel so alone. And I think having a coach just provides the person with a safe space where they can be themselves. They can be honest. They can be honest about what's going on and how they're feeling. Because let's be honest, with your family and friends, you're not going to say things like that you think that are going to make you upset them, right? You're not going to say, oh, I don't know why this is happening. I'm never going to get better. You're not going to say these sort of things because you're thinking of their feelings. Having a coach, you don't have to do that. They hold space for you. They listen to you. And also you're learning tools from your coach that you can apply way after cancer, like way after you've processed everything. So you can apply it on your daily life. Things like grounding, things like, fear stories in your head, and things like techniques that I teach, very simple tools in my coaching, which you can apply to everyday life.
So a coach can really help with deal with many of the issues that come out during the treatment and after the treatment.
Absolutely. And I think the main thing is as well, a coach will act like a guide. So they won't give you the answers. I guess like counselling doesn't actually give you the answers. They allow you a space to explore what's going on. And how coaching is a bit different is the coach will ask the key questions to help you find the answers in yourself, because everybody knows really what the answers are. It's just finding them.
Okay, so I think it's time to end the session. So my final question is, what is your message to our cancer community?
Okay, so my first one would be you can do things to support yourself, firstly. Second thing will be don't be scared to reach out for help. Everybody needs help sometimes. And third would be that if you can invest in professional support, then do get in touch with somebody that offers professional support. Even better, get in touch with me and I'd be more than happy to support.
Okay. So thank you so much, Preeti, for joining us in today's live session on cancer awareness and sharing your expertise with us. So would you like to let the audience know how to find you on social media and get your services?
Yeah. Of course, no problem whatsoever. So my Instagram is @thebigCcoach. Okay, that's my Instagram. I also have a free private Facebook group for people that are patients, cancer patients, caregivers or survivors, and that can be found on Facebook as Life and the Big C. That's what it's named as. And also I have a website. If anyone wanted to note it down, it's www.thebigccoach.com, and you can fill out a form to get in touch with me there as well. But like I said, Instagram, you can just DM me. I have my link in the bio, which has all the ways that you can contact me on there as well on Instagram.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
And thank you for giving me the opportunity to come on your platform. It's been thank you.
We're glad to have you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.